Good evening and welcome to everybody. It's a little bit early, and the reason that I always start early is to let everybody get logged on. So this evening we've got our friend from Trusthorpe, and for those members of Trusthorpe Camera Club, if you see some strange names, they're strange people as well. No, they're not. They're some great people from our club who are just joining in this evening to have a look at your images. With the YouTube channel, if people sign up to the channel and are subscribed, they get notifications, so of course our members can see when things are happening and when new events are coming up, or new talks, or the relevant things that are going on. Possibly whilst you was waiting, you saw the amount of events we've had since this lockdown period. We've had quite a few. We do a meeting a week on a Thursday night, and we have a different subject, a talk or a competition. Bob, one of our well, he's our chairman actually, he did a talk on Uganda, and this Thursday our past chairman from last year, he is going to do a talk on the Rockies, Canada. So just as a matter of interest for the members of Trusthorpe, once you've joined us, please do just sign yourself on so that I can see that you're there. Excuse me looking down for a minute, I'm just checking my phone because it went off and I'm going to switch it off. So I've just been told that the sound isn't quite as good tonight. I'm not sure why. There's absolutely nothing different. Strange, not done anything since earlier, so not too sure what that is. We'll just keep an eye on that one and see if it changes, possibly because I've not got leant forward yet looking at the pictures. This afternoon we had a talk by myself for the members of our twin club in Australia. We started at 12 o'clock, which was 7 o'clock in Australia, so we had it, we just had a talk by myself. It was an hour and a half talk, and I think everybody enjoyed it anyway. So for those who are there, I'll just say a few hellos. We've only got one member from Trusthorpe Camera Club that's showing up on the chat at the moment. So if you're a Trusthorpe member, do just drop a little comment in on the chat there on the right hand side and let us know that you're with us this evening. I've got Susie there. Susie was the first one to sign on. Hi Susie, pleased to see you. Well, not see you, but know that you're there. From our Dunholme club, we've got Diva, we've got Jill, we've got Bob, Grahame H. So just asking again, just for one of our members, I'll just lean forward as though I'm normally looking at the screen and talking. Does that sound a little better, or is it just the same or worse? If you could let me know, just to see if it is something that I've done. But as I say, I've not done anything since Lunchtime when we did the talk for Australia. So as I say, we've got 17 people showing at the moment, but we've only got thanks Susie, I'm pleased that it sounds okay at your end. So we've got 17, now got 19 people, we've got 19 people just logged on. Keeps going up and down a bit, but it always does do that. So but we'll wait for a few more minutes until people get logged on. As I say, if you could let me know that you are watching, just drop your name in like Susie did, and like our members from the Dunholme Camera Club did, and we can get on around 7 o'clock. So I'm just going to move the mic just to see if it's any different. Let me just have a look at the settings. Settings are possibly a little bit high, so let me just knock those back just a tad. Shouldn't make any difference really, but never mind. We'll see how we go. Another one just dropped in. Hi Shelley, pleased you popped in to have a look at us and see whether you're a winner or not, whether you've actually got an entry in this evening. Don't tell me, I don't want to know necessarily, but just nice to see some of the Trusthorpe members just signing in and making themselves known to us. So it's about 3 minutes to 7, so I'll just keep chatting on whilst we're waiting. If you put any comments in, it does just take about 20 seconds to get to me. So me speaking live, you don't actually hear it exactly as I say it spot on live. It does take about 20 minutes to get to you. So I must remember not to do anything at the beginning when I switch it all on, because for 20 seconds I just end up looking at the camera. Hi Gail, another Gail from Trusthorpe. Welcome this evening, and like I said a short while ago to Susie and Shelley, if you've got any entries, good luck this evening, and hope that it all goes well for you. We're up to showing 20 people at the moment, and we've only got about 7 or 8 dropped in, so do sign in by just dropping a note in the chat so that I can see that you've joined us. It's always nice when you sat at this end to know that there's somebody at the other end. So we've got Jill 3D just popped in, so hi Jill. Another Jill. Looks like Trusthorpe Camera Club is a little bit like ours. We have quite a few names of various people at the moment. We've got a few Michaels and a few Grahams, so we always get those, so we have to start using the surnames. So if Jean's about watching, then if you signed in, Jean, just drop your name in on the chat at the bottom there, and I can say a proper hello to you all then. So just got a minute to go, and hopefully by that time we'll have got everybody dropped in, everybody watching with a glass of water, cup of coffee, cup of tea, or something even stronger. So right, we're at 7 o'clock now, so I'll just do a little bit of introduction. Whereas usually the Trusthorpe members drop in, the club that I go to, in other words your club Trusthorpe, usually the competition secretary or the chairman introduces the speaker. Well, this evening I've got it all to do myself, so without further ado, I'm Graham. I'm the president of Dunholme Camera Club and also one of the LPA judges. You have, quite a few of you from Trusthorpe will have seen me before. I was supposed to be coming last year, but weather didn't allow it, so Jean rebooked us for this year, and it's not the weather this time, it's just this lockdown, so unfortunately can't be there in person, but we have got some great images for you to see this evening. Without further ado, I can see one or two people are possibly having a bit of a problem getting logged on, because the numbers keep going up anywhere between about 17 to 22. So if you know anybody who you think may be having a bit of a problem, if you could give them a quick phone call and just give them a bit of guidance, that would be great. Otherwise we'll just let them, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll just let them get caught up in a few minutes. Right, I'm just going to change my screen so that you don't see me, so I'll just transition it across so that we can start the competition. My little picture in the bottom corner there shouldn't, I've had a look, and it shouldn't interfere with any of the pictures and the If you can hear me, what I'm doing, I'm just changing the camera over, because my old camera has just about had it, and I bought a new one, and I'm just wondering whether it's that camera that's being a bit of a problem. So I'm just changing the camera back to the old one. So I'll be with you in a short minute or two, and I shall just click that and just see if it all comes to life for you. I'm just going to change a couple of little things, and I can see that it's working okay on my side, so it's looking like it should be okay now. Sounds okay from Grahame H. Back on now, sound back now, pic still frozen, sounds much better. Yeah, we're getting some good remarks now, so sorry about that, folks. I look like I'm just in about the right position, but that doesn't matter. You don't want to look at me. As I say, Shelley, from your remark coming through, I'm hoping now that it's okay for everybody. I can see that it's okay on the program that I use to stream with. It's let me just have a look. Yeah, I've got everything showing okay on here, so sounds okay, but no picture of you. I've gone to be a little picture in the bottom left hand corner. It doesn't matter, in all honesty, if you haven't got me on there. So are you okay now, Shelley? Is it coming through at your end? Can only see the flower. Your photo is not in the corner. Right, thinking about it, it won't be. It is now. So it'll come through to you in a very short time. So looks like everything's going again, and I'll have to do a little bit of a test tomorrow with the other new webcam. So right, off we go. First image this evening is a picture in pink. So we've got this picture, refreshed and now got you again. Lorraine, I see Bruce there. Welcome, Bruce. Good evening. Right, on with the competition. Hopefully it's okay for you all now, and we've got our first picture that you're looking at, which, as I say, is a picture in pink. So looks like everybody's getting me now by the comments that you're putting on, and I'll have to do a little bit of research into the new webcam tomorrow. It is a better picture, but it's if it doesn't work, it's crap. Right, this first picture, the picture in pink. Yep, very, very nice image of this flower. I must apologise, I'm not into flowers, so it's not a technical title from my end. I'm not going to say it's a this, that or the other. Detail good. With this particular system, instead of a pointer, I'm just using the mouse, which I've made bigger for you so that you can see what I'm trying to say. But a nice image. I'm just a little concerned about the bits of other flowers, stems, etc. in the background. I would have liked to have seen them a little bit out of focus if I possibly could. We've got one little bit of leaf on this bottom right hand side, which I think you should have cloned out, but it's a very nice sharp image, but as I say, I'm not sure that it's quite up to the standard of some of the others this evening, and possibly for me just a little bit tight in the frame. I appreciate that there may have been not a lot of room without getting a lot of clutter in the picture, but I do think it's just a little tight in the frame for this evening's competition, so I will let that one go. I just have to do something just to get it moved on. So the second picture, Ashford in the water. So yes, very nice image. The coloration's nice, sharpness is good. We've got a good leading line both down this left hand side and the right hand side, so we've got that. The only thing I would say is that other than this weeping willow tree, which is very nice in itself, we've got nothing to visually settle on. So I'm just thinking I would have liked a little bit more. Yes, we've got a duck or two in it, but they're not significant enough on this evening to sort of draw as the main subject. I do like this tree in this left hand side, it just gives us a little bit of a break from the greens, but as I say, for myself, I would just have liked a little bit of something to settle down. If you could have gone a little bit to the right, so I could have seen a little bit more up the river, that may have just have helped a little bit. But sky, I think if you could just bring a little bit more detail into the sky by a little bit of contrast or a little bit of clarity, that would have just given a little bit more detail up there in the sky. So I am going to let that one go, but a very nice image and a very nice place actually. Right, Autumn Fields. Yep, good title. We've got exactly what it says on the box. We've got the autumn fields, and we've got the various rolling hills, no doubt across the walls there somewhere, and the different colours of greens and browns, and it's quite a nice sky that you've got there as well. It's got a bit of detailing. Once again, try to get a little bit more clarity, a little bit more depth into your sky, a little bit of contrast. The actual fields, etc., yeah, we can see through them. This hedge in the foreground is just a little bit of a blocker for us, but as we look beyond that, the fields do go up in the hill, so consequently it does allow us to see the fields in the background, so that works really well. Once again on this image, as with the Ashford in the water, it is one of those images that I'm just looking for a really good focal point, and I appreciate it's a landscape, but I'm just looking for something a little bit more than this tree. You've placed this tree very nicely on the roughly on the third, maybe not quite, but very, very well placed there. So that's all working well, but I just want to see a little bit more in the image, so it would be good, a bit more of a humph to look at. Actually, it looks like somebody walking across the field there. I hadn't noticed that. Yep, don't know. The one good thing about doing it this way, I can zoom in on the picture and see what's happening. So right, so I will let that one go this evening. This next one is Bee and Snowdrops. Yeah, we've got the old bee there, and flying in or just on his way out, whichever, it doesn't matter. And then we've got these lovely snowdrops. I like the way that you've got down low, and you've got looking underneath the bee, and we're up on against that nice blue sky. If you're a Photoshop user and you've got the chance to just enhance the blues a little bit within the settings, then it would be nice to have had just a little bit deeper blue sky there. But it is a nice image. You caught it well. Not 100% sharp on the bee. The body is just lacking a little bit of sharpness, but it is so difficult. You know, it's not as easy as it looks, and in this particular case you've done very well. You have got some backlighting on the bee, which has caused a bit of flaring in this bottom corner here, so you've just got a little bit of flaring there, but it's quite soft, so it's not too bad a problem. Nice image. I think I would have just got rid of this little bit of coloration from the glass in your lens. That just is catching my eye, but one or two things are just a little bit off for me on that one, so I am going to let it go. But absolutely congratulations for capturing the bee. Even, you know, it's not easy. So this one's called By Candlelight. Lovely picture, It's very, very nice. You've got just about everything spot on. The candles there, by candlelight, we think of it, it works. The title's good. It all works well. I like the inclusion of this little bit of lilac or whatever it is in the foreground here. It works well. Sharpness on all of the books, that's really nice. Your vignetting on this top corner is just for me just a little bit dark. I would just have liked to have seen a little bit more separation, something to the tone in this top right hand side here, but nevertheless a very nice image, and I'm going to keep that one. Right, the next one is Belle's Cumbria. I think we shall all see right from the word go that the saturation, I think, is a little bit heavy on this one. It is an image which it's a lovely scene with all the hills, mountains in the background, etc. But the saturation is just a little bit heavy for me. I would have liked it just to have been toned down a little bit. I like the way that you've caught the geese in the foreground here and these few rocks, and then we've got a little bit of mid-ground interest, and then it leads us up to this centre of the island there where there's the building and the boat landing stage there. When I looked at the image closer, you have got a bit of fringing on the top of the mountain or mountains, so there is a little bit of fringing, little bit noisy. Now it could be two things. It could be the fact that you've cropped it a bit and it's brought out that fringing and the noise in the image, but very nice scene, and I do like the image itself. As I say, just let down a little bit by the oversaturation and the bit of fringing on the top of the hill, so I will let that one go. Right, come into my parlour. Yes, we've got the spider. I must admit, I don't know the names of technical names of the spiders, or even the common names of the spiders, but this one's well caught. It's very sharp, except just for the very end of the legs on these front legs here. The plane of the body and these back legs is much better, so they are that little bit sharper, so it does work better with the back legs than the front ones. Subject matter, you can't beat it. You know, you've got good detail in it, you've got those lovely water drops on its back, and you've got some great detail there. I'm going to hold on to that one to have a look later. Dawn River. Yep, we've got the this lovely colour coming across the from the left hand side, and we've got this nice mist in this field, and it's got a lovely feel to it as well. We've got this nice lead in of the dike, and we've got the lovely coloration on the water, nice still water, which has got the reflections from the sky above. The as I say, the coloration, this golden colour, is quite nice. Once again, if you'd wanted to push the colour up just a little bit up that top end, if you'd done a graduated filter or something, it would have just have brought it I've just seen a comment pop up. Jill 3D said, why wasn't I warned about the spider? Yes, it's a very nice image. I don't mind that we've got what looks like a bit of a trail here or something. I think it's just cloud in actual fact, but once again, very nice image, and I'm going to hold that one back as well. Dead Tree. So this is what it is, and once again what it says on the pan, dead tree. We've just got the few birds across there on the grass, and then we're led across into the background to the other trees in the hedgerow. So it all fits very nicely. We've got the dead tree, the living, the grasses, the other trees, and then we've got a nice blue sky. So it all does work well. So I like the image. It's very well taken, nice and sharp, but not quite got the oomph that some of the other images have tonight. But as I say, nevertheless, that it's a very worthy picture to be in the competition, and a very nice picture indeed. But as I say, I've just got a few that are just a little bit better, so I am going to let this one go. Excuse me, nearly choking myself. Right, this next picture is called Flat Out. So flat out. Yeah, these things certainly shift. I'm not sure whether they're actually just about flying or they are actually on the water. Of course we can see the water being thrown up in the background, and it's very well caught. The author has been tracking it and caught it quite nicely. I did look a little bit earlier at the shutter speed on this one, and although you've got quite a high shutter speed, I think you still needed to be a little bit higher. The actual body of the boat is a little bit soft. It's not pin sharp. Now I appreciate it's harder when something's coming towards you than it is when it's going from left to right, right to left. So that does mean that it was a little bit harder for you, but nevertheless it is just a little bit soft. Well caught, well managed. You know, I like the spray in the background because it's being sprayed up, which covers whatever's back there. It doesn't matter. You know, you've got a good picture which you've managed to get up all that spray, and then this lovely blue water in the front. But this evening, as I've said, I'm going to let this one go at this time. Right, the next one is Frosty Morning Flowers. Lovely image, very nice. I like the concept. I like the way that the two flowers are going and facing towards the right, and I'm just a little bit wondering whether a little bit could be off the top, but the image in itself does make up for that. I know in digital competitions, as with normal competitions, we don't judge the mount, and we don't in a digital competition necessarily judge what you've done to the edge of the picture. But I do like this faint white line. It just holds it all together nicely. So I'm going to see that one again. Getting moody. Yeah, the water's getting up, it's getting moody, and we can see the definitely on the Lincolnshire coast, isn't it, or somewhere it's brown water instead of these lovely blues that we can get in some of the foreign countries. So nice sky, you've got a good sky there, and you've gone for the option of actually freezing the water rather than trying to make it milky. So I'm just a little concerned. Do make sure that your water lines are level. I think it's about somewhere about there, it's that much out. So just get your spirit level on the software that you use, or put a grid on and just rotate it a little bit until you get it square. So it just definitely wants to be, but sharpness, you've captured that, you've got the detail, you've got the action. Well done on the picture, but I am going to let that one go. Here's Looking at You. Yeah, good close-up of the seal, and we've got this young seal. Unfortunately, as I think the rest of you will see, it is a little bit soft, so it won't go any further tonight, but I do think that you've caught this very nicely, and we've got the head detail good. When I say detail, the actual angle of the head, you've caught it nicely at the right angle, so well caught, well seen, but as I say, just tonight, just a little bit too soft for the competition, so I will let that one go. Icelandic waterfall. Yeah, it's a nice image of the water. When it's cold water like this, it always looks a little bit greener and bluer. I appreciate there's a lot of coldness there, and it does make a bit of difference. The image, I'm just thinking that it could do just with a little bit more sharpness, and once again, I don't know whether this one's cropped a little bit like the mountain shot early on, but we have got a little bit of fringing around the edges. We can just see on this one it's red, and we've just got a little bit of a red fringe around the rock there, so a little bit noisy in the sky. Don't know what the ISO was or anything like that, it doesn't matter. I'm not too particularly bothered about noise, but I think possibility is with that little bit of blue in the sky there, you should have been able to cope with a moderate ISO. On all occasions, try and keep it off auto ISO, otherwise it'll always take the wrong route, so just try and adjust yourself. So I'm going to let that one go, but a very nice image. Looking out to home. I just pondered on this one for a little while, because I thought, looking out to home, and I'm looking for buildings, and I'm thinking, looking out to home, I can't quite get this one, but of course, you know, there's a starfish just looking out towards sea, and is, come on, wash me out again. So got it in the end. The bit of, I don't know what this is, cuttlefish type stuff, it's another shell, etc., and then the starfish. Now you have put it fairly central. If at the time you'd put it a little bit more over here, because this sand up the left hand side isn't necessarily doing a lot for us, but these bubbles, etc., the froth from the water, do just give us a little bit more interest than the sand. So get rid of a bit of the sand, give us a few more bubbles, etc., and a little bit more water, and it may have just have improved it. Quite sharp. We've got sharpness on here, although the foreground does go off quite quickly, but the actual main body of the starfish there is relatively sharp. I will let that one go though for this evening. Right, this next one is called Lunchtime. Very nice image again, very sharp in the detail. We've got the bee just at a nice angle. The author is just looking at it a little bit at an angle rather than dead on straight on the side, so that just helps with the face view and the under the body, the abdomen here, etc. We've got detail in there as well. Lovely and sharp. We can see all of the hairs on it, and then the flower itself sharp throughout. If I could, I would have done two little things to this image, and that is, one, I would have got rid of this dead purple bit here underneath the main body of flower, and the other one is this browny bit in the bottom corner that I'm being drawn to. So just think about it, have a look round your image. You see, I'm looking at it again, and I can even now see just another little bit of a dead flower there as well. So, you know, you can go on and on if you're not careful, but just look round your images. Don't look at the main subject necessarily. Take a good look all the way around the outside. I am going to keep that one. Right, me and my shadow. Very, very nice image. Because of the backlighting, it has given you this shadow, which is good for you within the image, and you've controlled the lighting very, very well. So I do think you've controlled the lighting, that real bright on the top of its head there. It's maybe just blown out a tad up there, but nothing much. We've got good detail on this side of the bird that's in the shadow, and on its back, even where the sun's shining, we've still got good detail there. And then we've got this lovely shadow here. Now there's nothing, I appreciate the sand dunes etc where it is. We've got nothing that we can do with the bits and bobs there, so if you start getting rid of anything you'd have to do too much. So good image all round, and I'm keeping that one as well. Right, me and my shadow. This one is Michaelgate Lincoln. Yeah, it's funny that one there, because if you saw earlier where I'm sat, I have the Dunholme Camera Club banner behind me, and the Dunholme Camera Club banner has this picture on it. Not this picture, but one that I did, I can't remember, last year I think it was. We just have a banner for when we do exhibitions etc. Now the only difference with the one that I've done and yours, you've come much closer to the old twisted house. I went further back in and got a position, and if you ever go again, do look for it. If you go slightly further down, you can get a lower position, but you can get the main tower behind this old house. So do have another look when you're there again. Go a little bit further down Michaelgate and try and get the second tower in as well. It just makes it for a little bit more pleasing image. That particular picture, I took it many years ago, and I'm talking 20 years ago, and it's the picture that's made me the most money as a professional photographer. So anyway, on to this picture. Lovely and sharp. We've got everything there. I don't mind the trails from the vapor trails. That's no problem. It's all part of the sky. We've got lovely sharpness throughout the image from back to front. I like your black and white. It's good. Good detail. Your blacks are black, your whites are white, without being totally blown out. So well done on that one. I'm going to keep that one. Right, this next one, Nature Goes Shopping. So yeah, I looked at it and I thought, Nature Goes Shopping, is it something to do with the tree? And then I thought, no, Greenwoods. And I'm presuming, and it's making me think now, Greenwoods is to do with the title Nature Goes Shopping. I don't know. Anyway, onto the picture. Yeah, good scene of the shopping area, and we've got people doing their thing. I think in one way I would have liked to have seen someone coming towards us. Everybody's looking away from us, which doesn't give us a specific thing to settle on, as in people looking. We're drawn to this couple on the right hand side here, but they're not of particular interest because they're not looking at us. We can look around the shopping centre and see the different shops and detail etc, but as I say, I would have liked a little bit more of a person or a couple to give us a little bit more interest to put into the picture. So I'm going to let that one go for this evening. Very nice image, very well seen though. The next one, and I've just seen the comment pop up from Susie, is that the photo behind you on the wall. It's not actually on the wall, Susie, it's a pop-up banner that Dunholme Camera Club has to promote exhibitions and things. I will just move to the side a minute just so that you can see it if you can. Don't know whether you can or not, but that's the image. So back on with the competition. Right, nature up close, even in the rain. Yeah, certainly is. Could that blackbird have got many more worms in its mouth? It certainly is full, and his brood is certainly going to be a little healthier after that lot. Just hope the first one doesn't get it all. The image is very nice. I like the way that you've just caught the raindrops and the blossom as well. That just all makes to it. Unfortunately, the bird's head, I would have liked it to have seen it looking a little bit more round at you. So to have brought its head round a little bit more whilst you was taking the picture, it would have made for a little bit more pleasing image. I think unfortunately for you, you've had to use a fairly high ISO, which has given you quite a lot of noise in the blacks. If you're in this situation, just a little bit of advice, if you're in this situation, then do try to slightly, what you think, overexpose the picture and then bring it back down. It doesn't put in as much noise then, so do just overexpose a tad and bring it back down. I'm going to let this one go, but it's a nice image, but just one or two others that are a little bit better this evening. Right, piano accordion. Yeah, nice image of this piano accordion. Now, I appreciate that you've called it piano accordion, so that's a subject that we're looking at, and we are certainly looking at that. I think in this particular case, I would have liked to have seen the gentleman's head. I've got his hands, I've got his arm, I've got his knees, but then you've just chopped the head off. Maybe if we could have seen that, it would have made for a much more pleasing image. Your black and whites are good. You've got good detail in the shadow areas, just a little bit dark in this bottom right hand here, and just up the side of the accordion where it's moving. But I like also the way that you've got the movement in the hand here. That works really well as well. Otherwise than that, yes, very nice image. I'm not going to hold it back. It's nearly there, but as I say, I would have liked to have seen the gentleman's head. Robin in the garden. Yep, we certainly is. I think you've caught it nice against the tree. It's just at a nice angle. A little bit like the blackbird. I would have liked to have seen the body of the bird a little bit more to one side a little bit, so that we was looking at it more from the left hand side or more from the right hand side. This eye we can just see, but it's a very sharp image. It's nice and sharp on the bird's body, etc. The tree's nicely thrown out as it goes into the background, so it's a good image in all. I think I'm just wondering whether you could maybe have taken a slither up the side of this tree so that we don't get this mass of blue here. It would have left this side, but that doesn't matter. I'm not too bothered about this side because it mixes in with the greens, but this blue corner I would have liked you to have taken that off. So nice picture, really good picture of the robin. We've got great detail in the feather, but I'm going to let this one go against some of the others. Roof tiles. When you first see this one, it sort of makes you look at it, and once you've given it a few seconds, you grasp the concept, and it really works well. I must admit, they're not my tiles on my roof because they've got no end of moss on them, but nevertheless, this is nice clean image. We've got the dark edge of the tiles, and the lighter edges of the top, and you've coped really well with the lighter areas in the image. You know, that really really works well up here in these lighter areas. A little bit soft at in the foreground and the background. Maybe if you could have put it up a little bit. Looks like a bright day, so possibly if you could have gone up a little bit in your f-stop, that would have helped it a little bit. I'm going to keep that one though, because it's a very nice image. Ruby, I'm presuming that's the name of the horse and not the chappie. My dog's called Ruby as well. The image, I think when you produce your images for competition, try and make sure that they are of the right size in file size. I did check this file size and it's only about 700 and some odd KB. You really want to be between 1.5 to 2 megabytes, because if this had been shown on a screen this evening, when I say on a screen, by that I mean in the clubhouse, and it was blown up larger, you can instantly begin to see the loss of detail in the animal and the owner here. So do make sure your file sizes are right. The reason that this one's showing smaller on the screen, of course, is because of the small file size. So after saying all of that, it's a brilliant record shot of the owner and his horse. I think if I'd been you, I would have asked him just to have brought the horse's head around towards you a little bit rather than it facing away, so it would have given you a little bit more detail in the head and the face. And if you could have asked him to do the opposite, use the opposite hand on the head and put his right arm with the reins down so that it didn't spoil the look on the horse's head. So very nice image, very well caught, but I'm going to let that one go this evening. Runswick Bay. Yep, Runswick Bay, very nice image. We've got some really true to life colours there. We've got things happening from left to right, from top to bottom. We've got the hillside with all the stone up at the top, and then we've got the houses leading from the top down into the foreground with the water. We've got the steps leading us up onto this walkway, and nice little bit of red there, by the way. So just a little bit of red on there just to catch your eye. Now some people would say, well, it does catch your eye, wouldn't you have got rid of it? No, it's part of the scene here, so it is doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's a buoy ready for any emergency. So nice and sharp throughout from top to bottom. Nice image. It was nearly very closely to be held back, but I have got quite a few held back, so this is the one that was just about to but didn't quite. So sorry about that, but very nice image. Just as a matter of interest for anyone in the Trusthorpe club that does judging, I must admit that this type of judging with the screen here and looking at them is a little bit like the olden days, and this is showing me age in the LPA, when we all used to have to send the pictures round or the slides round to be viewed before we actually went judging. And there was very little, when I first started judging, there was very little spot judging done, and I must admit I do prefer the spot judging than having them in advance, to be honest. Anyway, on to this one. This one is called Sand Racing. Sure is, you can't get away from that. Instantly, I think one or two of you will instantly know what I'm about to say. I think this sand here is absolutely brilliant. Throwing it up like this is great. it's showing us the speed and the angle that he's come round the corner, etc. I just think that you should have chopped off this left hand, this wheel mark where somebody else has been here. That's perfectly fine, so just take it off beyond there and get rid of this. What you've done, you've put your rider closer to the right hand side of the image than he is to the left, so he hasn't got as much space to move into as he's come out away from. So I would have liked to have seen him going a little bit more into space and getting rid of a bit on this left hand side. So other than that, nice image, well caught, well timed, spot on. Looks like his front wheel's just about off the ground. It is lovely and sharp just in here, but there is a little bit of movement when you zoom in on his head and his leg here, but of course they are moving, and he's of course moving at a fairish old rate of knots. So you know, overall, yes, very nice image, but as I say, I would have liked to have seen a bit chopped off this left hand side, so I will let that one go. Serenity, yeah, nice image, gives you that sort of evening feel, of course, as the sun setting and this lovely glow from the sun going up. I think possibly you could have just have tweaked your saturation slider just to have made it a little bit more even still, just brought those colours up and made them a little bit deeper. The colour on the water wouldn't have mattered, it would have just have given a little bit more blue to the water, so that would have worked. This marker nicely on the third, and then we've got the sun setting, and of course that's on that third as well, so very nicely seen. It's not one that I'm going to hold back, but certainly a very nice image in its own right. Spots of rain. I'm not convinced it's spots of rain, I think it's chucking it down. Certainly has been raining, even if it's just spots of rain now. We've got these couple walking away from us with the colourful umbrellas, which do fill in nicely, and we've got this lovely reflection on all of these cobbles in the street, so very well controlled as far as the brightness on these cobbles. I think you've done very well to stop any of them blowing out. It has meant, by the way, that these have gone totally black. We've got no detail between the top of the coat and the trousers, but nevertheless that doesn't matter. It's a good, well caught image in its own right, and so it works okay. Sharpness spot on, you know, nothing wrong with the sharpness throughout, right from front to back. I mean, we've virtually got sharpness from just into the image here, and it does go right through to the back, but well seen, and it's a sort of image that I would have missed, to be honest, so I'll have to be honest about that, but I am going to let that one go. Tick Tock Dandelion Clock, yeah, it very nicely seen. It's a good full headed one, so you've managed to get one with plenty of little clocks in it, and one or two are just coming out here, but nevertheless nice and sharp just in this center area. That one and this area around here is sharp, and then we begin to lose it towards the back end. I suppose that doesn't necessarily matter a tremendous amount. If you'd got a lot more of it in focus, then so would this green foliage in the background. So you know, it's which way do you go? The top view of the dandelion, yes, perfectly okay. I just wonder what, if you got down lower, what would have been it like from one side, say from the front view here, but this is the way you've chosen to do it, and you've caught it well. The majority of this top of the this dandelion being nice and sharp. So, but I am going to let that one go this evening. Tilling the land, yeah, another small image, another small file size. They don't look too bad when you see them in the small size here, but they do begin to lose detail a little bit later on. I like the way you've got one coming towards you, you've got one going away from you, and then in the background, just to give us a little bit of detail, you've got another one working in the back left hand corner here. So all very nice, changed a tremendous amount since the days that I was working on the farm. These are all, I had to do everything then, but must admit these things are all GPS controlled, and this controlled and that controlled. So but nevertheless, nice image. A little bit flat. I appreciate your weather looks a little bit flat as well. There's not a tremendous amount of sun, of course, because we can see the cloudy sky in the background there. Maybe if you could have lifted it a little bit more with a bit of brightness and a little bit of darkness, a bit more, make the clouds a bit more fearsome in the background. So we'll let that one go. Whitby Harbour, Ballymore, isn't it? Yeah, Tobermory. It shows me age again. Long time since we had the kids in that programme. Yeah, I've just been here the once, and the colours in the houses are absolutely brilliant. My image, I took it further up on the left hand side so that I could get the end of the houses in on the right hand side here. And I just like that a little bit better because it gave you an escape out of the picture round the edge of the water. But nevertheless, this is lovely and sharp. Very, very nice image. We've got sharpness from top to bottom, from side to side, and the colours are spot on. You haven't tried to enhance them, they are what they are. And I wonder if it would have worked nicely if you could have set your camera up and taken a slower picture, slower shutter speed, to give this water in this foreground and up into the roadway there, made it a little bit smoother. May have just been something to try next time you go. But very nice image. I'm going to let that one go though. Tulip Surprise. Yeah, certainly some lovely colours here. Possibly Tulip Surprise is the name of the tulip, not too sure, don't know my flowers as I said earlier. The sharpness on this one is just on the top here, just a little bit on this one, and this one they're all stigmas and stamens, aren't they? I can't remember which is which. So we are just lacking a little bit of detail in here. Would have liked to have seen a little bit more depth down into the bottom if we could. Not sure whether you've used a tripod or whether it was handheld. If it was handheld, if you could have used a tripod and probably given it a little bit more f-stop, depth of field, that would have been good. Love the colours though, the reds and the yellows really stand out nice, and you've gone in really close there for the centre of the tulip. So I am going to let that one go this evening. Right, we're getting down towards the last 5 or 6, so waiting for the tide. Yeah, once again I'm presuming that these shells are waiting for the tide to take them out again, and as we all know, the tide is an amazing thing, brings lots of things in and also takes lots of things out. So we've got interest here, and we've got the various shells. This shell here, possibly for me just a little bit bright, we're just losing the detail on the top of it, and then we've got this bit of plankton, whatever it is here. Depth of field again. Now your depth of field, it's looking as though your focus point was dead here in the center of the camera, you've tried to compose the image where you want this shell, but unfortunately you really sharp bit is just across here, so this has made these foreground interest a little bit soft. So just try and get a little bit more depth in your image with a larger f-stop, just to make it give a bit more detail for you. And of course, as I don't know whether you do know or not, but the closer you are to the subject, it is less in the depth of field. So because you've gone in fairly close, that makes your depth of field shallower, so you've got to have a higher f-stop. I will let that one go. Waiting. Yeah, image of this person waiting, and all dressed up with nowhere to go, and we've got quite a noisy image. Now, I don't know whether this one's been cropped, which has introduced the noise, but we have got I said earlier I don't mind noise, and I don't, but I think we've just got too much in these dark areas here. The gentleman's head, unfortunately, it's just beginning to get a little bit bright. It's not quite blown out, but it is getting very close. So a little bit grainy. You've done well with the blacks though. You know, you've not, even in this bottom area here, you've not lost it into a pure black. So well done on the exposure, but as I say, a little bit too noisy, I think, for this evening's images. So that one, I'll get rid of that. Whitby Abbey, very nice image. Once again, we've got the Abbey stud, the picture that a lot of people take. We've got lots of detail right from the foreground with what looks like the campion here, going through the pond area and into the background, lead us into the main building. There's just one little bit of white here that just catches my eye. It's I'll just looks like the hillside, as some bits in the background. That doesn't matter anyway. Nice building in itself. I do like this one, so I'm going to hold that one back. Whitby Harbour, boat coming into Whitby Harbour, nice and clear, good detail throughout the boat, and the author's chosen to leave it just on the third, just about both ways on that horizontal and vertical, and then we can see the rest of the harbour and where it came in and round. So everything works well on the image. Interest in pictorial interest, not quite as good as some of them this evening, but nevertheless very sharp, very nice image, and you've just caught it just spot on at the right moment. So well done on that one. We'll let that one go. Whitby Pirate. Yeah, all dressed up and in his regalia, and stood here ready for his picture. I suppose if he was a friendly old chap, if you could have got him sort of looking out over the boats as well, you know, it might have given us a nice image. This is a nice picture of him. Does it fit in with the harbour? Yes, it does, because of what it is. He's the pirate, there's the boats. If he'd had his hand up to his eyes, above his eyes, looking out to sea, it may just have worked a little better. Not sure, I wasn't there at the time. But you've coped well with the exposure. He's well exposed, so is the background, and the sharpness falls off after him and just makes the background just a little bit soft. So I'm going to let that one go, but it is a very nice image. Who's a clever boy? Yeah, this lynx or wildcat, whatever it is, got the rabbit and just taking it home. Once again, because it's a small image, I can see quite a few artifacts beginning to come through in the background which show up quite a lot when you look closely at the image. Detail in the cat's head and up onto its back is very nice, and in the poor old deceased rabbit, you've got him just in the right place. It's nicely to the left and it's got room to move into, so you've captured it very well into the coming into the area and leaving it plenty of room to walk into. So nice image, but I am letting that one go tonight. And your last image this evening is You Make Me Laugh. So I'm not quite sure whether he thinks that is making you laugh, or whether he's about to have a bite. With them two fangs, he'd certainly dig in, or she, whichever it may be. Very good detail on the head here. We can see all of the top of the mouth here and the eyes. This is where the focus point is, on the nose and the eyes. The eyes are just beginning to go a little bit soft, and the bottom jaw has gone soft. I think you must remember to keep that f-stop up. Give your images a little bit more of a chance to get and collect more detail. So it's not one I'm going to keep this evening, but well caught. And the light, I'm not sure whether you've vignetted it to make it a little bit darker around the edge, but certainly the light on the head was very good for you. So we'll let that one go. Right, I'm just gonna get rid of these, and I'm gonna look in this folder here. We should have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. We've got 10. Right, so what I'm going to do is just get rid of 1 or 2. Now Jean told me that for your competitions we want 6 at the end of the day. I'm going to mark them from 6 to 1, of course. So firstly, come into my parlour. I'm going to let this one go. Very, very nice image, but I would just like to have seen a little bit more detail on these front legs. This one and the ones at the back, the 4 back ones, the 4 back ones, well, they're not all 4 back ones, but you know what I mean. They're sharp, but it's losing a little one on the front, so that one can go. Brunswick, sorry, I've just seen another one that shouldn't be there. I forgot to delete it. Dawn River, lovely image. I like the colouring falling on all of the greenery on here. I've got the nice leading line here, but I've got nothing to particularly settle on. I tend to settle on this gate, and of course should the gate be the main point of the subject? No. Nice image overall, but I am going to let that one go. This Runswick Bay, as I said, I should have let that one go earlier. It's lovely colours, but I'm just going to let that one go. So 2, 4, 6, 7. So 1 more has to go. Just looking down what I said. Just going to have a look at a couple. Right, Whitby Abbey. I'm going to let Whitby Abbey go. It's a lovely image. I like the image in itself. I'm just wondering whether you could have just have got a little bit more oomph into it with adding a little tiny little bit more brightness to it. Very nice image in itself, but I will let that one go. So we're down to the 6. So at least everybody who's watching, if you've got an image here, at least you know it's going to be placed. So we'll start with roof tiles, and possibility is Jean is like our competition secretary Jill, and Jean will be writing down very quickly now, so I'll go steady. So roof tiles is position 6. So position 6. Me and my shadow, the gull. I like that image. So me and my shadow is 5th. So I'll write 5th on there. Is 5th. Michaelgate, lovely image, nice and sharp. The other contenders in these 6 just top it against this one. So Michaelgate is 4th. So Michaelgate is 4th. By candlelight is 3rd. Lovely image. I like your toning. I think possibly, if anything, maybe I would have toned it just a little bit less, just taken away a little bit of saturation from it, just so that it took it down to a softer brown, a softer sepia rather than a brown. But that one's 3rd. So out of the 2 flowers, let me just have a look at them. So out of the 2 flowers, the Frosty morning flowers, that's 2nd. Frosty morning flowers is 2nd. Lovely image, and I like your vignette around it, just darkening the corners. Works really well. And so that means that Lunchtime is the winner this evening. Lovely image of the flower. As I say, I would just have liked, it's a very picky point, but just these couple of little bits here, just get rid of those just to stop my eye seeing them. But I like the inclusion of the bee, and the bee absolutely just makes the picture. So well done to the audience there, sorry, to the winner there. So that's just about it for this evening. Just switch the light up a little bit, just to say to you all, well done, and I hope that nobody's too disappointed. It is certainly difficult entering competitions, knowing exactly which image to put in, and to make sure that you get the right image into the right competition. Nevertheless, well done to everybody for putting their entries in, and a big well done to those people who are the winners. So it's been good to do the competition in this way for you. One thing it does save is a lot of writing for me. Save putting critique down. You do certainly get a lot more critique in a way like this than you would normally. So hope you all enjoyed it. It is difficult for you to get exactly the right image every time. Finally, just one thing for the Trusthorpe members: if you would be good enough to like the episode or two that you can see on the screen. If you want to subscribe, then by all means subscribe and see one or two more of our videos. But for now, I'll say goodbye to you all. Once I switch the streaming off, the chat does stop as well about 20 seconds later. So if you've got any messages, just jot them down there now, and I'll just waffle for a second or two just to see if anything else comes through. And just one there from one of our members, Paul Walker. See you Thursday. We have our next meeting on Thursday, which is a 2-hour meeting usually, and this week we've got a talk. So I'm going to say goodbye to you all now. Take care, and hope to see you on here again. And thank you all for joining us this evening. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Gordon Moss just put, thank you on behalf of TCC. This has been a great experience. Thank you, Gordon. Very much appreciated. And good night to you all. And I'll say bye for now. Cheers. Bye.